Hey everybody, welcome to MUSE TV. We are here with the people behind this great documentary called Florian Knights. It's something definitely you have to watch, and it's a must-see documentary because it's a great story. Let's start with the director. What was it about telling their story and bringing it out and telling this and into a documentary type of format?
Yeah, well, thanks for having us, first off. I really appreciate it. It was brought to my attention that there had kind of been a missing piece within the mental health conversation within fire departments across North America. And I learned about this motorcycle club that was founded in Burnaby, British Columbia, which is where I currently reside. And it was an opportunity where I was kind of given the keys to speaking with some high-ranking officials within some of the most iconic and historic fire departments across North America, in which we could have kind of a modern day conversation about where does the mental health conversation need to go within these departments as it pertains to post-traumatic stress injuries. And so when I connected with these guys through this motorcycle club, realizing that the motorcycle was a form of healing for their post-traumatic stress, I knew that this was kind of a beautiful marriage. I always say, like, I kind of use the motorcycle as a Trojan horse to kind of get into these departments in a way that no other filmmaker had in the past. And that's what you see now in Florian's Knights.
And for you firefighters, I have family who are firefighters. I have friends who are firefighters, and I hear the stories of what it's like. What was it? How was it forming this motorcycle club, and how has it helped with PTSD and other firefighters who have gone through different circumstances on the field?
Well, I think for me, just having someone to talk to, someone to kind of hang out with, shared experiences. All the guys that were in the Burnaby club, we're all about the same age. We all have the same experiences. We all have the same story, just with different names in different places.
Yeah, and it's the same out here in the East End. I think we all understand that in the past there were guys that were suffering a lot, and it wasn't really spoken about. And all of a sudden, I found some people from all over North America that knew and had experienced that. And it was never good to sit in silence, but we were all sitting in silence, and this gave us an opportunity to at least listen and speak. Sometimes it helped.
And why, like, it's funny when I was watching the controversy, how watching the documentary, they're talking about controversy in motorcycle gangs, which I don't see any. Like with your group, I don't see no controversy. I don't see what the problem is. Did you guys see controversy in it? Because I didn't see any when you guys formed the motorcycle group.
Well, I truly believe it was a non-story. We got different guys that ride. Like, there was no story, but never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Exactly.
The next thing you know, people thought we were something that we weren't.
Mm-hmm.
Michael, I went to bed. I think I said it in the movie. On Sunday, I was one thing, and on Monday morning after the picture, I was another.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say this with 100% complete confidence. In our club, we're outstanding firefighters, clean records, had the usual service medals and so forth. And I think Eric said it best. It was a non-issue, but apparently it was a big one for a lot of people.
Yeah, which I don't find it an issue, because I think it's great that you guys are able to get together and at least, especially to work out whatever, and to meet, just to talk with other firefighters and be able to ride. I know how freeing riding a motorcycle could be. And what would, going through all this and putting the documentary together, how did you select who you were going to focus on and who you're going to feature?
Right. Well, I had a lot of options, obviously, right? And even the way that people are going to experience the movie, it's a multi-perspective film. We have firefighters in Toronto, in Detroit, in New York City, and in Vancouver, in the Lower Mainland area in British Columbia. It's a big movie with a lot of moving pieces and a lot of characters. But slowly but surely, you know, what's so great about this motorcycle club is that you have guys who formed the club because they wanted to speak up about mental health. So then those guys are then going to offer themselves to the movie and become key parts of that conversation. So let me put it to you this way, like nobody was shy, you know what I mean, to get in front of the camera. And, you know, sometimes I had to look at my watch, right? You get these guys talking and next thing you know, it's 2.5 hours later. But that was that was such a beautiful thing for me, because usually you have to pry these details out of guys, right? And over a century in the fire department, from my perspective, some of the things spoken about in this movie have just never been spoken about before. And our guys, the Florian Knights Motorcycle Club, the members of this club and other firefighter clubs across North America, for some reason, the bike and, you know, mental health have become this perfect marriage. And all of our firefighters recognize that this was an incredible opportunity. So it wasn't very hard for me to pick and choose. Guys came to us and, you know, wanted the opportunity to speak their truth for maybe the you know, the one and only time in their life, right? For a lot of guys. And that was really empowering for me as a filmmaker. I really didn't have any, you know, horse in the race. I don't come from a first responder family. I don't even ride, but it really allowed me to kind of have this objective lens and to say, you know, this camera is for you. It's not for me, right? This camera is for you. And now let's talk about, you know, what hasn't been talked about over the last 100 years. So, you know, it wasn't hard to pick and choose. Guys came to us.
Mhm. And I think that's one thing that I love about this documentary is, and it kind of it could expand to so many different topics, so many different subjects, especially when dealing with mental health. I think a lot of people are sometimes scared to deal with mental health, but this one really does give a good example of how to deal and to try and overcome, even though you don't completely overcome sometimes the experiences that you had. To the firefighters that we have on panel, what how important do you think something like this not only help firefighters but other people when they watch your documentary and your stories?
Well, I wish this documentary came out 20 years ago. I wouldn't have wasted 2 decades of my life. Because I needed to hear this and it was never spoken about. So we were just suffering in silence. So I had no idea that I should actually even deal with it. I thought, well, you know, I'm kind of muddling through life. So maybe this is the way I'm supposed to feel. And it wasn't until we started speaking about it that, no, it's not the way you're supposed to feel. You're supposed to be content with life.
Yeah, the stigma that's been attached to things like depression, PTSD with first responders, general overall mental health, it has always been pushed down, and there has been a move towards eliminating that stigma. And I think TELUS had a program based around that. But this movie, it's focusing in on what are stereotypical, real tough dudes in a sense. And they're open about their issues. And I think that might be a benefit to the general population overall. If they're going to say, hey, if a firefighter can step out and admit that there's problems, so can I. Because when it gets right down to it, we're all in this together.
Do you want to add anything on that?
Yeah, I think that we all found too that it almost by accident that once we started to ride, that there was a certain peace afterwards, the certain way that we felt differently. I mean, our spouses did. I know for certain notice a complete difference. You know, I'd be out on a bike for a couple of hours, come back home, and she'd notice the difference immediately. So nobody expected that. That was something we all just sort of came to on our own. But over the course of a long career, it's more or less maybe like a cup of water with it's being filled up all the time. And sometimes you can't let it fill right to the top, and sometimes it spills over. I think the riding of the bike has helped us with letting the water step over the top without it, making a giant mess of things. So I don't know how much sense that makes to you, but that's the feeling that I know that I've discussed it amongst with some of the other guys that are in the film, and they felt the same way. So it's if it helps anybody in the future, other than just us guys, and we know that it's helped already, then it's a bonus to everyone.
Yeah.
You know, Michael, in addition to that,
Uh-huh.
in the movie, I stated my motorcycle is my medicine.
Yeah.
And that is so true. But what really added to the medicine was meeting up with my brothers in the club. So it was the motorcycle and the fraternity of firefighters and the sense of affiliation again, because I've been retired and I was sinking fast. And I met these guys at a bike show. We talked. Next thing I know, I was in the club, and it was huge for me, huge.
And that's what I love to hear, is the positivity of what coming together can help overcome, especially with mental illness, because I think we've all have family who've dealt in some way, shape, or form with mental illness. And I love the way you guys did it. I love the documentary. Sometimes I wish that when we do interviews like this, that we could go into so much spoiler material, but we want to get people to watch the movie. So it's like, gotta leave some things off to the side. But Panayioti, what are you hoping the audience gets from this, and especially when they see it, and when is the release date of the documentary?
Yeah. So Florian Knights, the movie's coming out September 10th is the North American release date that we've identified. And what's amazing about that is it is timed to the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks, right? Which for firefighters, from my perspective as a civilian, that was a moment for everybody to recognize the cost of the job. You know what I'm saying? Like how far these men and women are willing to go, you know what I mean, to protect others, and what are the repercussions of that. And we're seeing the repercussions, even not just those who died on 9/11, but who continue to suffer today. They've paid the ultimate price. And I thought, why not come up with a movie where firefighters are speaking their truth, timed to the 20th anniversary of 9/11. So that's when it's coming out in select theaters in North America. What do I hope people get from this is we stepped into the lion's den of two stigmas, and that's, we stepped into the den of the mental health stigma within fire departments. There was a moratorium for years, I'm not afraid to say it. I heard guys tell me that this was off limits, you know what I'm saying, 10 to 15 years ago, maybe even sooner than that, right? And then when you looked at the biker community, by the way, which I had no sense of, I don't ride. I didn't even really understand what a motorcycle club was. But if I saw 50 guys strong riding through my neighborhood, right? I'm not, I even had my own kind of, what are these guys, what are these guys doing? You know what I mean? And so then I made this movie and I realized what they're doing is they're probably riding for a charitable cause. Maybe they're riding for their own mental health. Maybe they're just getting together, you know what I mean, with their brothers. Like I might get together with buddies at a cafe, right? And so I wanted to kind of create a film that would really speak up against these stigmas and kind of once and for all, speak truth to the fact that, hey, look, PTSD is real and there are guys who ride to survive PTSD. That's what happens. That's a fact of life. It's happening all across North America and all across the world, wherever you're from. We made this movie to communicate that message. I think it communicates it really strongly. I'm really proud of what we've done here. And I'm proud of all the guys here today that are on the panel for really speaking up and being brave. Because you know what? The one thing I want people to understand is you pay a price when you tell the truth, right? You really do. You pay a price when you tell the truth. It's really easy to just sit back and let somebody else do it. But everybody here, this production team, everybody who's participating, they have stepped up. And you know what? I'll be honest, man, people say this all the time, but I really think this work might save someone's life down the line.
And
I
I
really
agree
believe that. Come up with this movie at that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is going to be a real eye opener to a lot of people, and I agree. It's going to save somebody's life, especially who are in public service and who are doing the jobs that you guys do. I want to leave the final question to you fellas. Since it is being released close to 9/11, its 20th anniversary, which I'm sometimes it blows my mind that it's gone. It's already going to be 20 years. It seems like it's just yesterday still. Um, what can you what are your thoughts on everything after 20 years and what you've seen and how and I because I think this documentary is going to really help a lot of people who are still dealing with it and firefighters who are still suffering with PTSD from that day. Can I get your thoughts on the events?
Well, the fire department was changed. If all fire departments were changed when that happened, that on those days, all those losses. The only fire department I know of in the world, the FDNY, could have survived it to begin with, and then we were treated differently in Toronto. I know we were. We had a large contingent go down there for the memorials, but we were treated differently for a long time. The reality was that not only did that cause a lot of problems for all the people that were left, but also the people that had to take their places and walk in the shoes of heroes, as you might say. And I mean, I don't know how much, suffering and pain went through all those people. But now that we have a little opportunity here and an opportunity in the future to speak to mental illness, not only in the fire service, but in all services that are affected by it, maybe those people won't suffer in silence. And that's what we're hoping for, I think. Guys?
Michael, for me, and I think for a lot of my colleagues, New York was New York, 911 to 911. And you can use all the words you want. They're not going to be enough to describe what it means. However, I know that we also went to New York in large numbers to support them during the dig. We went to a lot of the services and the funerals. And when we came back, and while we were in New York, we were treated like gods. But when we came back to Vancouver, people were waving at the fire trucks again. And there was this sense of, for lack of better words, hey, they love us. And that's a great feeling. And, in the old days, the firehouse or fire hall was the center of the community. And that was almost like a revisit to those days. And over time, 20 years, that's a fair amount of time. A lot of that has been eroded or forgotten. And we as firefighters, there's a slogan in the sense we have is never forget. And we're never going to forget New York. However, the 20th anniversary, it'll elevate its profile again. And with this movie, there's New York and there's mental health. And neither one should ever be forgotten. It's about all of us. Again, I'll say that. This movie's not just about firefighters. It's about everybody who suffers from mental health or family members, grandma, grandpa, sons, daughters. It's about all of us. And the New York brothers, they were forgotten in many ways, occupational disease being one of them. It was a war for them to get anywhere on that stuff. This movie is bringing everything back into focus, and we're hoping that it helps everybody in general, everybody, not just firefighters.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much. I think everybody needs to see this documentary. It's just, I've been lucky that this has been a great year for documentaries, and this is one of them. Thank you so much for being a part of MUSE TV. And don't forget, September 10th, the documentary comes out. How can they see it again? What platforms is it gonna be distributed, and also in theaters?
Yeah, so it's actually going on a theatrical run throughout September, October, and possibly into November.
Awesome.
Throughout major North American markets. And then Gravitas Ventures, who acquired the digital rights to the film, are going to be releasing it to TVOD on November 23rd. So November 23rd and on, that's when you can expect to find it available online. But we're just so excited, even in this era of COVID, even with all the things going on, that we're still going to get a really nice wide theatrical release for everyone to enjoy it across Canada and the US beginning September 10th.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for being a part of this. Really love talking to you. And in the description, we'll put links on how you could see what theaters near you will be showing it, because I'm telling you, definitely one of the top documentaries this year. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for
Thanks.
talking.
Thanks, Michael.